Hey folks, so glad you get to spend a little time with me today. Hope everybody's having a great day. And what we're going to talk about today is a question that I get a lot, and you've probably asked the question yourself, and it is, why am I so hungry all the time? And that's a big question because some people say, I just ate and I shouldn't be hungry, but now I see donuts and I want to eat them. I see cookies, I want to eat them. I just went to a buffet and then I go home and I don't want a snack. Anybody do that aside from me? I bet you do too. So maybe you have a donut at work and it was just too good to pass up. We've all done that, right? Oh, these things are so good. Oh, these are my favorite. I can't pass these up. And then you use that excuse, that deadly excuse. It's a treat. Anybody use that? Oh, it's a treat. I just want to have a treat today and I deserve a treat. Well, a treat is just that. It's something you do very infrequently. The problem is that most people do it every day. Well, I worked hard today. I'm going to have a treat. I didn't work hard today. I'm going to have a treat. I had a day off. I'm going to have a treat. That doesn't work. So you want to say something else. It's change the wording that you're having because something may be tasty in the moment, things like sugary drinks, candy, pastries, but they don't give you a lot of lasting energy, so you're hungry real soon. So what would be better choices? Well, number one is don't give yourself those treats, and you know what I'm talking about. And the thing is with sugar, I'm going to talk about this a lot today, is when you put sugar in your body, it stimulates a part of the brain called the nucleus accumbens. And that releases dopamine receptor sites. Dopamine receptor sites fire off. And dopamine is a neurotransmitter in your brain that gets you high. You feel good. Dopamine is that pleasure neurotransmitter. So think of the most pleasurable thing you can do. I know what you're thinking. And suddenly, the dopamine is being released. Sugar does the same thing, only it's quicker, easier, cheaper. And so why not do it, right? Hey, I don't have to go out and do that thing that gives me so much pleasure. I'm just going to have a little sugar. So we got to start thinking about better choices, anything with a lot of fiber in it. And the reason is this. When you eat fiber, fiber slowly pushes the sugar through your colon and you get a slow release of energy. If you eat an apple, let's say, an apple has fiber, pushes the sugar through the colon, you're happy. If you drank a glass of apple juice, it's going to blast the sugar into your body. The sugar gets into the stomach and into the digestive system, gets absorbed. The pancreas dumps a ton of insulin into the blood to get the cells to open up and allow the sugar into the cells. So now you have all this insulin running around in your blood. The cells open up, the sugar's out, and then you crash. And so what do you want to do? You want to eat something that gave you that burst of energy again, which is the sugar. Fiber slowly pushes the sugar through the colon. You get a slow release of energy, slow release of sugar. And so you don't have that crash, that rush and then the crash. So fiber only comes from plants. You can't get fiber from animal products. So meat, dairy, cheese, butter, yogurt, ice cream, eggs, zero fiber. This is why another reason you need to eat more plants. If you're going to do whole grains, I'd stay away from wheat. Because wheat is always sugar. And what happens is with wheat is you have a thing called the wheat, the kernel of wheat. And on the outside, it's coated with something called bran. Well, you know bran is fiber, right? So the bran is the fiber, but when we make white flour, we take the bran off. Then there's a part of the wheat kernel called the endosperm. And the endosperm is a bunch of sugar, basically. And then there's a part of the wheat kernel called the germ. Now, the germ is where all the nutrients are, the vitamin E, the good nutrients. Well, we take the germ off in a lot of processed wheat products because it has oil in it, wheat germ oil. And that oil will go rancid, and that's not good for you. So if we're going to make something that has a long shelf life, we're going to take the germ off, we're going to take the bran off, and what's left is the endosperm. That's white flour. It's essentially pure sugar. So if you're going to eat wheat, you're getting a ton of sugar, regardless of whether it's whole wheat or white wheat or whatever it is, you're still getting a ton of sugar. So I wouldn't recommend doing wheat. Wheat also has a protein in it called gluten, and gluten is made up of two components, gliadin and glutenin. And when those proteins get into your body, the body recognizes them as foreign. Well, it doesn't recognize them. That's why they're foreign. It says, I don't know what that is. Let's send the immune system out to attack it. Now, some people's immune systems are more sensitive than others, and it can blow out your immune system. The immune system sends all these white blood cells out, and the white blood cells are designed to be specific, but if you have too much going on, they might start doing some collateral damage, some friendly fire. And your own immune system can start attacking yourself. And gluten looks a lot like the lining of your cell, the same cell walls, the same kind of protein. So what happens is you start having an autoimmune reaction. Your immune system starts attacking itself because the gluten looks like your cell walls. And now you can have swelling, brain fog, inflammation, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, big problems. Also, a lot of commercial wheat, especially in the United States, is sprayed with glyphosate. Glyphosate is a weed killer. And what we do with that is we spray this weed killer on the wheat to kill the wheat before we harvest it. Now, why would we want to do that? It's a lot easier to harvest, takes a lot less stress on the machines if it's dead. And so now all this glyphosate is getting into the wheat. And in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine, a chiropractic neurologist, just the other day. And he said, too, he says, do you find that some people that have wheat issues in the United States don't have it when they go to Europe? And I said, it's true. He says, yeah, I see that too. So in Europe, a lot of the glyphosate and genetically modified foods are banned, and so they don't have the problems that we have here. But either way, I don't recommend eating wheat. If you're going to do grains, you want to do something like quinoa. If you've never had quinoa, it's kind of nice, actually. It's a little higher in protein, a little lower in carbs. Better choice. If you're going to do rice, brown rice versus white rice. Why? White rice has had the brand, rice bran, removed. That's why it's brown, the bran. And so they remove it and then polish it. It's essentially eating sugar. And you eat the sugar, it releases the insulin. The insulin opens up the cells absorb all the sugar. Then you crash because you don't have any blood sugar anymore, and then you get hungry again. So staying away from grains is a good idea, but if you're going to do grains, quinoa would probably be a good one. Millet would probably be okay. Brown rice. Again, don't do them if you don't have to, but if you have to, those are the ones I'd suggest you do. Healthy fats. How about nuts and avocados? I have nuts everywhere. I have them at my office. I have them at my house. I carry them in my car, little packets of nuts, because nuts are great. They're high in fiber. They're high in good fats. They're high in nutrients, proteins. They have some carbs in them, just like beans. Some people say, well, Doc, I've been eating a lot of beans and I'm gaining weight. A lot of carbohydrates in beans, but there is the fiber too. So what you want to do is this. You want to get something called net carbs, and you want to do about 40 to 50 net carbs a day. So the way we do this, and this is going to help with the hunger, because that's what we're talking about today. Why are you so hungry? Why am I so hungry? Is you got to get a net carb of about 40 or 50 grams a day. So you take the amount of carbohydrates. Let's assume you pick up can of soup, can of beans. And it says it has 30 grams of carbohydrates, but it has 10 grams of fiber. So you take the 30 minus 10, and then you have 20 grams of net carbs. Did you follow that? It's pretty simple math. And in a day, if you can shoot for about 40 or 50 net grams of carbs a day, you're going to be pretty good. So again, you can eat a lot of fiber and eat a little more carbs then too. Avocados are great source of fat. And if you eat an avocado, you're going to find that you fill up pretty quickly. And that's a neat little trick. Now, for a while there, avocados they had an issue, I think, with the growing season. It was a problem with avocados, so they're still available. I've never been anywhere in any grocery store anywhere in the country that didn't have avocados, any big grocery store. So avocados make a great snack. If you don't know how to eat an avocado, it's not hard. It should be soft, and when you push on it, it should feel like the tip of your nose, just a little give. That means that the avocado is ripe. Cut it open, cut it in half. There's a big pit in the middle. Take the pit out, and now you have two halves, and you can eat it right out of the shell. Put a little salt on there if you want to, add a little olive oil if you want to, and eat it right out of the shell. You'll be amazed how good you feel and how you won't get that hunger feeling as if you ate a donut the same size, because that's a good fat. If you're going to eat animal proteins, I don't recommend you do. I haven't had animal proteins in over 30 years. However, if you decide to eat animal proteins, I'm going to recommend you do organic only. And that would be meat, dairy, cheese, butter, yogurt, ice cream, eggs. And the reason is this. 30, 40 years ago, we didn't have to worry about steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified foods, and now we do. So the food supply is a mess. Eating organic, you solve a lot of those problems. So do that. Now, also, I want you to remember that when you eat something, it takes 20 minutes to get the message from your stomach to your brain. So you're going to eat whatever it is. Let's take Thanksgiving dinner, for example, Christmas, a big dinner, any big dinner. You go to the table and you're starving. Oh my gosh, there's so much food and I'm so excited and I can't wait to eat this whole buffet. And then you sit down to eat. And 20 minutes later, you're stuffed and you can't move and you can't understand why that happened. Well, the stomach releases a hormone called leptin. Leptin is released into your blood, goes into your hypothalamus, part of your brain, and it tells you that you're full. It takes 20 minutes to get there. So whether you have a little snack and wait 20 minutes, or you have a big meal, or you eat a whole buffet and wait 20 minutes, that's how long it takes to feel like you're full. So here's the trick. I want you to eat something, fruits, vegetables, nuts, or seeds, and wait 20 minutes before you eat something else. In this case, Mom was wrong. Mom always said, don't ruin your appetite. I'm telling you that you should ruin your appetite. And by ruining your appetite, you have a meal, have a snack, wait 20 minutes. You're going to eat so much less food. It's crazy, I promise you. And it's one of the tips I do when I do my weight loss seminars is I tell people to have a snack before every meal. And you'll be amazed. I do it. I wake up in the morning, and first thing I have is Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And then I go about my morning. I'll take a shower, I'll brush my teeth, get my clothes ready. I always have a cup of tea in the morning. It's one of my rituals that I like. And the Super Greens, the Essential Source, if you don't know what those are 2 supplements. I created them many years ago, and I made them for myself, actually, because I have a condition called macular degeneration. I was going blind. And so the doctor said, well, you can take some lutein or zeaxanthine and you should be fine. And it's just going to be progressive. It is what it is. And who knows how long you're going to have your sight. So that wasn't very encouraging to me. So I put together Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source loaded with antioxidants and nutrients. And I started taking them. About 1.5 years, 2 years later, I went back to the eye doctor. He took a picture of my macular degeneration and he turned white as a ghost. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's gotten worse. I have a brain tumor. I'm going to die. And he looked at me, he says, it's getting better. He says, macular degeneration never gets better, and yours is getting better. He says, what are you doing? And I told him I created these supplements, and he says, whatever you're doing, keep taking them and tell everyone you know to take them, because obviously it's healing the inside of your eye, which is unheard of. So I recommend everyone take Super Greens and Essential Source. It's the minimum amount of nutrients that you need. It's what I call the core nutrients to get your body going in the morning. And a lot of times when you're hungry, you're not hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. So if you could load your body up with a ton of nutrition first thing in the morning, that's a great way to start your day. So I do that every day. And then right around 10 o'clock or so, I wake up pretty early. Around 10 o'clock or so, I start getting hungry. I'll have a couple of handfuls of nuts. Cashews, almonds, pecans, pistachios, walnuts. Sometimes I'll do nut butter. It's just ground up nuts. And that holds me over. And that really helps control my appetite. And then lunch is usually a salad or something like that. And then dinner. And if I have time, I'll talk about that as well. But if you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, where the first ones come up. And right on the homepage, right in the front, it says sign up for my newsletter. And it's free, and we send out great information. In fact, everywhere I go, people say, thank you for that newsletter. It's quick, it's concise, it's fun tips you can use. And I'm going to send you a lecture that I did called So What Can I Eat? I'm going to send you a link to that, and then you could listen to the lecture as well and talk about how to do breakfast, lunches, and dinners. That's not for today's workshop. So we're talking today about why am I hungry all the time? And one of the reasons is that we don't eat nutritious foods. You have to give your body nutrition so that the brain says, yep, that's what I wanted. I feel good. Now, let me back up a little bit. With the Super Greens and the Essential Source, if you want to, you can add a couple of tablespoons of extra virgin organic coconut oil to it. After you make it, add it in. It'll harden. It'll crunch up. And it adds a little chew to the Super Greens, the Essential Source, which is actually good because when you chew, you release saliva, and saliva helps digest your food more efficiently. But also the 2 tablespoons of fat are going to make you feel full longer. And you can get extra virgin coconut oil pretty much anywhere. It's sold everywhere. But that's a fun little thing you can add to the Super Greens, the Essential Source. And the reason it gets crunchy is because coconut oil, I get the right, I think it's 76 degrees, might be a degree or 2 off there, is either liquid or solid right around in the mid-70s. And so when you add it to something cold, like I add coconut milk or almond milk with the Super Greens and the Essential Source, and I shake it up with the coconut oil and it hardens. And if you remember when you were a kid, they used to have the soft serve ice cream and they dip it in either chocolate or strawberry, I guess it was, and it would create a crunchy coating on the outside. That used to be coconut oil. Well, coconut oil, they found a cheaper way to do it synthetically, and now they use synthetics. But the reason it hardens is because when the coconut oil hits the ice cream, it gets crunchy. So you can kind of relive your old days by putting a little coconut oil into Super Greens and the Essential Source. But really a great supplement. I think everybody should take them. They're on the website, drjoeesposito.com. If you want more information, you can order them there. You can also order them from Amazon. If you have an Amazon account, order them. At least, if you do nothing else, start taking the Super Greens and the Essential Source. Most people just love them, and they want to continue taking them. That's on the website again, drjoeesposito.com. Now, folks, I'm a chiropractor, and if you have a problem, health problem, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, my team of doctors and I, we want to be your doctors. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, I want you to go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world. You can book it online. You can call us. We accept people with all insurances. We honor most insurance plans, Medicare patients, car accidents, sports injuries. Here's the thing. I've never seen a car accident victim ever if the car was damaged where the occupants weren't. So I really want you to consider that if you've ever been in a car accident, whether it was yesterday or 30 years ago, you need to come in and see us, because if the bones are out of alignment, they're going to rub up against each other. They're going to wear out, guaranteed 100%. You will develop arthritis, and you're pinching nerves. And that can cause pain. It can affect organ function. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're ready to get well, go to my website right now, drjoeesposito.com. Make an appointment to come see us, because we want to be your doctors. So other reasons why you're hungry all the time. You're stressed out. Anybody stressed out? Raise your hands. Yeah, I bet you are. So when we get stressed out, our body, your body zaps away hunger with a hormone called adrenaline, you feel good. Oh, excuse me, got excited there. But if your worries stick around for a while, your system cranks up another hormone called cortisol. So you and I are talking, a gunshot goes off or a car backfires. Boom, adrenaline is released. We realize we're safe, we're okay. You know what? I lost my appetite. But if we're under long-term stress, how many people have long-term stress? Raise your hands. A lot of you. Relationships, finances, business, work, family, job, where you live, car problems. We all have stress. But when it becomes long-term stress, your body cranks out cortisol. Now, this can make you want to eat everything in sight. This is why sometimes when people take steroids, hormones, they gain weight, because they want to eat and eat and eat and eat. You can't stop yourself. So when the stress goes away, the cortisol levels fall off and your appetite returns to normal. So how do we know if you're under chronic stress? Well, at our office, we do a saliva test on our patients. And what we do is we collect your saliva. Well, you collect your saliva for a day, and we mail it off to our lab. And the lab does an analysis. And what should happen is this. Cortisol should be low at night, and it should go up in the morning when you wake up. And the cortisol is the thing that kind of gets you humping and pumping again for the day. And what happens is, as cortisol levels go down, melatonin levels go up. Melatonin is a chemical in your brain, a hormone that makes you tired. So cortisol is high in the morning, wakes you up. Cortisol drops throughout the day. At the end of the day, it's low. Melatonin kicks in. Melatonin goes up. At night, melatonin starts to drop off. When the morning comes around, cortisol goes up, and you got this seesaw going on. But if you have high cortisol throughout the day, you're going to be more hungry, and you're going to get less sleep. And that's one of the reasons why when you miss a lot of sleep, you just want to eat, because it's messing with your hormones. So I want you to consider that if you think you're under chronic stress, you're not sure. And again, some people they're living under stress. They don't know what normal is. Come in our office. We'll do the saliva test for you. I think you'll be amazed at the results. Why? Other reasons. Why am I hungry all the time? How about you're thirsty? Sometimes you think you need to eat when actually you're dehydrated. There's two parts of the brain. When you're a baby, little tiny baby, there's one part of your brain that controls hunger and another part of your brain that controls thirst. And as you get older, those two parts of the brain literally start to grow together. And so as a toddler and on into, childhood and adulthood, you think you're hungry, but you're really thirsty. And so another trick I want you to do when you're hungry all the time is I want you to drink more water. And it works, folks. I used to be fat. I used to have stretch marks. I have stretch marks on the back of my legs, my chest. I totally get this eating thing, because I come from a family that they ate constantly, half Italian, half German. There was food everywhere all the time. We were very poor. My father was disabled. And so my mother would say, if I'm going to turn the oven on to roast a chicken, well, I got to make a cake too, because I don't want to waste the oven. Well, what did that do? That put on pounds on me, my mother, my sister, my father. And so I was fat as a kid. And it's funny because just the other day I was going through pictures with my mom. My mom's still alive, and we were going through some pictures, and I found the picture that changed my life. And I was standing there in a bathing suit in front of the house we lived in, and I didn't have a shirt on, and the rolls of fat were just hanging over the top of the bathing suit. And I remember being a kid looking at that and saying, that's not what I want. And that's the picture that changed my life. Didn't see it for decades, and it just emerged the other day in my mother's picture. But what I started doing was, in my simple little mind, I thought, well, if I'm hungry, I need something in my stomach, so I'm going to put a ton of water in my stomach to fill up my stomach. That was my, whatever it was, 8, 9-year-old mind. Well, the good news is that I was right. I got right for the wrong reasons. Yeah, I was right for the wrong reasons. I started drinking a lot of water. I didn't eat as much. And when I didn't eat as much, I lost the weight. And of course, I was young too. It's a lot easier to lose weight then too. So you have to feed your head with water. And not coffee, because coffee is a diuretic. It actually drains your body fluids, not alcohol. Scotch and water doesn't count, folks. Sorry. It has to be just plain old water. If you want to do an herbal tea, maybe you can get away with that. But you got to put fluids into your body, and you're going to be amazed how much less you eat, because that's going to solve a lot of your problems. We talked about spiking your blood sugar. When you eat sweet and starchy carbohydrates like donuts, pastries, cookies, sodas, they send out a lot of sugar into your system at once. Your body releases insulin, which helps the cell open up and use the fuel. Then the flood of sugar can cause your body to make more insulin than you need. So what happens is you open up too many cells, dumps in too much sugar into your cells, and then you start to crash. Also, if you're eating fructose or high fructose corn syrup lowers the hormone in your stomach called leptin, but it increases a hormone in your small intestine called ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hormone that goes into your hypothalamus that tells you that you're hungry. So what are sources of high fructose corn syrup? Well, pretty much anything processed. And many times, in fact, I think all the time, I don't know when it's not, if we make high fructose corn syrup in the United States, they use genetically modified corn. And genetically modified corn changes the molecular structure of the DNA, the proteins, and now the body can recognize that as a foreign protein and start attacking it. So that can be an issue as well. Not good. So it's not hard to get, we've got a lot more to talk about. In fact, I'm going to have to go to break in just a second. But I'm going to talk about hiatal hernia. If you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, all of those mean you might have a hiatal hernia or a spasmed stomach. I'm going to discuss with you how to fix that. We fix it all day, every day. We'll talk about the low blood sugar, pregnancy, if you eat too fast, your food isn't satisfying, not getting enough nutrients, lots of other things you talk about. Medication can make you hungry. So we're going to cover all that when I come back from the break. So there's a lot to cover. And I'm going to take this show and I'm going to put it on my website, which is drjoeesposito.com. Archive hundreds of radio shows there, videos. It's all there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No charge. Now, the big thing is that most people are undernourished. You may be overfed, but undernourished. And if you're undernourished, you need to start getting nutrients into your body in a concentrated form. And the best form that I know of is Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. I mix them together. I use coconut milk, almond milk. I put it in a jar and shake it up. I strongly advise that you consider taking these supplements. Most people, major majority of people, are just thrilled when they start taking it because they realize how much more efficient their body is working. And one of the reports I get, and I had people tell me all the time, Doc, I'm saving money by taking the supplements because I'm eating less food, because I'm getting the nutrients that I need. So I'm actually making money by taking your supplements. I said, good, I like that. So if you want to order those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Also on Amazon, if you have an Amazon account, you can get them there. But try them. At least do them for a month. Do them religiously every day. I think you'll be amazed. Now, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we're chiropractors. We have a team of 6 chiropractors in my offices. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to have you as a patient. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, digestive problems, car accidents, sports injuries, stop suffering needlessly. So many of you come into my office and you say, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I suffer all these years? So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your children. If you want to make an appointment, that's on the website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world. You can call us. We can do it online. We honor insurance policies, Medicare, car accidents. We want to be your doctors. We want to get you well and keep you well. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. I'm so glad that you're here. I am Dr. Joe Esposito. Very nice. Just had my Super Greens and Essential Source before I came back on the air here. So give my supercharged energy, keep my brain working. And it is true. When I take Super Greens and Essential Source, my brain works so much better. I know a couple of weeks ago we ran out and the shipment got tied up and blah, blah, blah. So I had like 2 or 3 days without my Super Greens and Essential Source. And first of all, you would have thought that I beat somebody's baby up. People are calling up, "Where's the Super Greens? How come you don't have it?" I mean, yelling at us. I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm out of it too. I'm a customer too." But it really is amazing when you take it and you stop taking it. Most people report some amazing downturn to their health and their brain. So what we're talking about today is, why am I so hungry all the time? And one of the big reasons is that we just don't give our bodies enough nutrition. And that's really important. That's why the Super Greens, the Essential Source, are so important. But there's other reasons. We talked about spiking your blood sugar, eating sugar, and the sugar, it causes the body to release insulin, which then takes all the sugar out of your blood, and then you get tired. But the big thing that I found, and it took me years to figure this one out, is I had a hiatal hernia. I didn't do a scope on it. I just based it on my symptoms. And so you have a sheet of muscle called your diaphragm, and below your diaphragm sits your stomach, and there's a hole in the diaphragm. And when you swallow food, it falls through the hole, goes into your stomach, the hole closes, you digest food, and it passes on to the small intestine. Well, what happens in a lot of folks, and in fact about 80% of the people we test in our offices have this condition, the stomach is pushed up into their diaphragm. And the stomach is now spasmed, and it's not digesting your food properly. So the food essentially sits in your stomach for too long, and it rots. And a lot of people, when they have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, chronic cough, sinus problem, the acid is coming up through their esophagus into their sinuses and throat. Now, that being said, it usually isn't all stomach acid. It's lactic acid. That's the rotten food. So when the food begins to rot, it gives off lactic acid. Lactic acid irritates your esophagus, irritates your throat, irritates your sinuses, and you're not digesting your food properly. So then the food sits there too long, goes into the small intestine. Small intestine can't do the stomach's job. It's a conveyor belt, and we start to have problems. Now, leptin is released, like we talked about. It goes to the hypothalamus and tells you that you're full. When your stomach pushes up against your diaphragm, even though your stomach hurts from so much food, you still want to keep eating. You're not getting the leptin up into the hypothalamus, into the brain. So by gently massaging the stomach down away from the diaphragm, every day, patients report to us, "Wow, doc, I feel so much better. I'm not eating as much. My bloating is gone. My gas is gone. The acid reflux is gone. My chronic sore throat went away." Really is cool stuff that happens when you pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. Now, if you go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, I think go under its blog and then Dr. Joe's articles. And it's about the 5th or 6th article down, and you can read the technique that I've developed and that we use here. And it's really pretty cool. It's a neat little technique, and all my doctors are trained in it because they treat me too. And I tell people all the time that my doctors, I'm very picky on who we hire, and all my doctors are usually as good or better than I am when it comes to technique, because I teach them. And the reason is I'm their patient. I want the best care that I can find, and so that's why I hire the doctors that I do. So we're talking today about why am I hungry all the time? And there's a lot of different reasons, but the hiatal hernia, the acid reflux, the heartburn, that was my biggie. Because I know if I'm eating and my stomach hurts and I just want to keep eating, we've all done that. Once I get one of my doctors to pull my stomach away from the diaphragm, it's like a miracle within minutes. I say, "Oh, I'm satisfied now." Really is cool. And sometimes it's a one-shot deal, but very rarely. Usually it takes several visits to fix. So don't come in here thinking I'm going to pull your stomach down and you're going to go, "Woo, I'm fixed." It's not that easy. So. All right, other reasons why you're hungry all the time. You might have a condition called hypoglycemia. That means there's not enough fuel, or glucose is the sugar, the form of sugar that we use, in your blood, and it can make you feel weak, tired, or dizzy. It can happen if you haven't eaten in a few hours. I get that way. I know sometimes if I'm busy and I skip a meal, I start getting shaky. That's my first thing, is I notice my hand starts to shake. And I said, I'm to hypoglycemia. If you have the symptoms, you want to keep an eye on your blood sugar, and then you might want to eat something right away. And if you want it done quickly, something that's going to be absorbed quickly, which is a simple carbohydrate. I don't eat a lot of simple carbohydrates. So if I eat, it usually takes me about 10 or 15 minutes to kind of bounce back. Now, you need to eat a little more, or if your medication, you may need to be adjusted, because medication can also be a reason why you're hungry all the time. And this is something, too, I tell people if you're taking blood thinners. Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source have something in it called vitamin K. And vitamin K can help your blood clot. So doctors will tell you, well, don't eat vitamin K, but vitamin K you get from vegetables, and so you need vegetables. So now you're in a pickle. So what do you do? So I tell people, listen, if you're going to start taking Super Greens and Essential Source, if you're going to start eating like you're supposed to, a lot of fruits and vegetables, what you want to do is have your doctor monitor your blood, and they can adjust your blood thinner medication accordingly. So instead of adjusting your food to meet your medication, what if we adjust the medication to meet our new healthy diet? It's the way I like to look at it. And the good news is this, that after a while, you may not need a lot of the medications because the body is now starting to function more efficiently. Don't come off your medication without your medical doctor's advice. I'm telling you straight up. But if you get healthy enough, I don't know a doctor in the world that is going to say stay on your medication. They're going to say, hey, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, and going to cut back your medication. So we're talking today about why am I hungry all the time? And as a chiropractor, patients come to us with all sorts of health problems, and many times patients come to me and my doctors and they say, well, I've been everywhere else. I'm stumped. I don't know what to do. Doctors don't know what to do with me. And so then we do a workup on them, and many times we get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. And that's why I love being a chiropractor. I planned on being a neurosurgeon. My original plans would be a neurosurgeon. My father had a horrible accident before I was born. I talk about it in the last book I wrote called Prescription for Extreme Health. And he fell off a ladder, broke his back, and fractured his skull, went deaf instantly. So my father was deaf my entire life. And we didn't have a lot of money. And so we had to kind of deal with what we had to do, but we ate a lot of not junk food back then. There wasn't a lot of junk food. And there was a lot of sugar involved. And that's why my blood would crash and I'd get into the shakiness. So one of the reasons I ate a lot is because I ate bad foods. But again, we're talking about, I digress here. Sorry about that. We're talking about why you're hungry all the time. Another reason you might be hungry all the time is you could be pregnant. While some moms feel queasy, if they eat too much, others may feel really hungry. And so if that's the issue, you think you might be pregnant, it doesn't hurt to go check it. So back to the medication. That's where I was going with this. So with the medication, if you have blood thinners, you have to make sure that you adjust it accordingly and make sure that you're doing the right thing. And that's why I don't want you going against your doctors. Make sure the doctors know what's going on. And most doctors are very excited to see the patient get better. So I just want to reiterate that one more time. If you eat too fast, that may be why you're hungry all the time. When you wolf down your food, you might not give your body enough time to notice that you're full. Remember, what was the rule? How many minutes? 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes to get the message from your stomach to your brain. So if you're eating a whole lot of food really fast, you may not notice that you're full for 20 minutes. So eating slowly is more satisfying. And you also want to chew your food. And I do this sometimes when I do live lectures. I'll say, when does digestion start? And people say, well, as soon as you put it in your mouth, as soon as it goes into your stomach. All right, so here's a little challenge for you. I want you to think of the biggest, juiciest lemon you could possibly imagine. You see it sitting in front of you? If you're driving, keep your eyes open, please. And you have this big, juicy lemon. And you roll it out on the counter, and it breaks up all the fibers in there. And you cut the lemon open. Oh, I'm doing this already. And you slice it in quarters, and it's big, and it's juicy, and it's really tart and sour. So in your mind, I want you to take this juicy, tart lemon and put it in your mouth and suck the juice out of it. What just happened? Did it happen like it did to me? You started salivating, right? So digestion starts when you think about food. So when food is laid out in front of you, it's nice to have a nice presentation because your body starts to release saliva. Saliva's job, saliva's job is to take carbohydrates and break them down into simple sugars. Then you chew the food. That's why you chew it mixed with saliva. It goes into your stomach, and your stomach has acid, and the acid starts to break down the proteins. And then it goes into the small intestine where the pancreas releases things like pancreatic polypeptides, amylase, lipase, protease, and this helps the digestive system even further break down the foods. And then if you have a good healthy gallbladder, it squirts bile, and the bile helps break down the fats. And so you got to keep breaking these things down into their small components so that you can absorb them. And if you're eating too fast, you may not be starting the process properly, and so the food may not digest properly. And so that could be a reason why you're hungry all the time, and that's a lot of reasons why I can say fat. I used to be fat. Why fat folks are fat. Scientists actually put a number on something. It's called the satiety index. Higher ranked foods satisfy your hunger for the same calories. For example, roasted potatoes are more filling than French fries. Some scientists figure that out. But I find that if you're eating something with fat in it, like nuts or avocados or coconut oil, Dr. Joe's Super Green is an essential source with some coconut oil, the fat really makes you feel full longer. So you want to hit that high index to make you feel fuller longer for the same amount of calories. So if you ate 1,000 calories worth of donuts, you're not going to feel real full for very long. You eat 1,000 calories worth of cashews, you're going to feel full a lot longer. So you got to start thinking, what am I eating that's making me eat more? And it's usually foods that are not full of nutrients. And if they're devoid of nutrients, then you're going to be hungry sooner. Because again, when you're hungry, you're not hungry for food. You're hungry for nutrition. And you got to load your body up with tons of nutrition in order for the body to work properly. That's why I like Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Because it's super high concentrated nutrients. It's prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin, great source of protein, B vitamins. A lot of us are deficient in B vitamins, especially if you're vegetarian like me or a vegan. You don't get a lot of B12, so I add B12 into this. So those supplements, again, I think you should take them. I think everybody should take them every day. You can go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, and you can get them there. Relatively inexpensive, about $2, $2.50 a day for a scoop of Super Greens and a scoop of Essential Source. Whole lot cheaper than a cup of coffee, whole lot cheaper than a lot of the junk food you're wasting your money on. And if you start feeling better, you'll probably eat less food, and a lot of people end up saving money by giving themselves the proper nutrition. And those are on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or on Amazon if you have an Amazon account. So let's keep talking about why you're hungry all the time. Maybe you saw or smelled something that you like. Maybe you saw an ad about ice cream or smelled some fresh baked cookies when you walked into the farmer's market. That could be enough to make you want to eat, whether you're hungry or not. So what I want you to do is start to look for triggers and then decide if you're going to eat it or not. So you just had lunch, you walk into a bakery, you smell the goods, and you say, oh my gosh, that's so good. A couple of weeks ago, I was up in Little Italy in New York. And there's some really good Italian bakeries that I grew up with this stuff. And I walked in, and all these memories just came pouring back of the baba ganoush and the cannolis and the eclairs and the cookies and the baba rum. And it was just all these just saying it. I had these wonderful memories of sitting at my Aunt Tessie's house, and the adults would drink espresso, and I'd give me a little sip, and I'd eat the cookies and the cakes. Oh, that was so good. Now, I just had lunch, and I thought, boy, I really could go for some of that. But A, I'm a vegan, so I knew I wouldn't eat it. But B, I knew it was a trigger. It triggered very happy memories, and dopamine was released in my brain, and I thought about my grandmother, my Aunt Tessie, and my mother, and my father came from a family of 10 kids, and all my cousins, and all these wonderful memories came flowing back, and I would love to have a cannoli. But I didn't, because I knew that was just a trigger. It was fake. So you got to start thinking about your emotions and maybe what you smelled or tasted or something that brought up a good memory. That's why you're eating it. If that's the case, enjoy the memory. I really enjoyed going down memory lane and thinking about my Aunt Tessie, walking up the steps to her house in Jersey City, New Jersey, and her husband, my Uncle Victor, and it was just wonderful. And it was just as wonderful with the cannoli as it was without the cannoli. And a lot of you are thinking, no, nothing is as wonderful as a cannoli. I know what you're thinking. I'm Italian. I know how good cannolis are. But I still got to enjoy the pleasure of it because it was still a lot of fun. So a lot more things to talk about here. Time flies, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't like this. I need about 4 or 5 hours every show, I guess. We're going to talk about how your emotions affect what you eat. We're going to talk about your thyroid and some of the things that can affect your thyroid, medications, not getting enough sleep. All these things could be reasons why you're hungry all the time. See, that's called in the radio business a tease. I got to tell you what we're going to talk about so you keep hanging on and you keep listening. Now, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we're a team of chiropractors. We have 6 of us here. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love the opportunity to help you stop suffering and to help you gain your health back. Every day when new patients come in the office, I'll sit down with them and I said, so what gives me this pleasure today? And many of them say, Doc, I want my life back. I want to be able to run again. I want to be able to play with my kids again. I want to be able to drive again. I want to be able to sit again. And I've listened to you for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and I don't know why I waited so long. And I apologize. I'm sorry I waited so long. So don't apologize to me. I've gotten chiropractic care since I was 18. But if you're ready to get well, if you want to get the nervous system working, fix the digestive system if we can, get the diet straightened out, I'll tell you what to eat, what not to eat, what supplements you might need aside from the super greens and the essential source. Make the appointment now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world. You can make an appointment online. You can send us an email. You can call us. We'll get you set up as soon as possible. We accept people, all insurances. We usually honor the insurance plan, Medicare, car accidents, sports injuries. We want to be your doctors. And we want you to say, like so many other patients have said in the past, why didn't I do this sooner? So if you're ready to get well, go to my website right now, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world. So some more reasons as we continue. Why you're hungry all the time. Your emotions are in charge. How many people turn to comfort foods when they're upset, they're bored, they're sad, they're depressed? You might have heard it's called emotional eating. So what's your mood right before you eat? This again, I'm going to make you think. Sorry, you have to do some work here. If you're not really hungry, try doing something else. Just because it's dinner time, you don't have to eat dinner. Just because it's breakfast time, you don't have to eat breakfast. And if you find that you're feeling blue, stressed out, anxious, maybe you want to talk to a friend. Maybe you need a counselor. Many times, this ties into what we talked about earlier, you might have a hiatal hernia. Your stomach's job, as we said earlier, is to take proteins and break them into amino acids. Now, the amino acid tryptophan combines with vitamin B6, creates a chemical called 5-HTP, and 5-HTP becomes serotonin in your brain. Serotonin helps you calm down and focus. So many patients that are depressed, we give them medication called specific serotonin reuptake inhibitors to utilize the little bit of serotonin that they have. What if we just made more serotonin? Well, there's a novel idea. Well, Dr. Joe, how do we make more serotonin? Fix the stomach. Massage the stomach, get it to come out of spasm, get the stomach breaking proteins into amino acids. And then those amino acids can become tyrosine. Tyrosine becomes dopamine. Tryptophan becomes serotonin. So tyrosine becomes dopamine, gives you pleasure. Now you feel good about yourself again. You feel good about your relationship. You feel good about your life, your job, your family, your church. Not a bad thing. Glutamine, another amino acid, becomes norepinephrine, help you get some energy in the body, and it becomes GABA. GABA suppresses other neurotransmitters, including pain. So a lot of pain patients that we see in our offices, and we see a lot of pain patients, not patients that are pains, we see a few of them too, but pain patients that are in pain, we fix their digestive system, get them on a good diet, get them on Dr. Joe's Super Greens, get them on an essential source to alkalize the system, reduce the inflammation, fix the stomach so you're breaking proteins into amino acids. And now suddenly we're producing in more GABA. GABA suppresses the pain, and the patient feels better. And they think we're the coolest chiropractors who are on the face of the earth. We're some cool cats. When in reality, we just got their body producing the right amount of suppressive neurotransmitters called GABA. Did it make all sense to you? Yeah. Now listen, if you ever hear a show, you missed something or you couldn't listen to the whole show. I know some people actually have a life and they have to go do things aside from listening to my show. I can't imagine why. What could be more important? We're going to archive all our shows on my website, drjoeesposito.com, and just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world, and you'll be thrilled that you can pick topics that you want, listen to anything you'd like, as many times as you'd like, send them, cut and paste them, send them to your friends, let them hear what you're hearing, and let them help. You can help them get well and stay well. Really is a fun job, helping people get well. Other reasons why you're eating too much. You have an overactive thyroid. If you do, it can make you tired, nervous, moody, and hungry all the time. Talk to your doctor about this. Talk about your symptoms. You may need to get some blood work done. If you do, many times you can manage it. There are supplements you can take. One of the problems I find with underactive thyroid, or it could be an overactive thyroid too, is you expose yourself to something called haloids. Haloids are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Iodine is necessary for the thyroid to work normally. If you've exposed yourself to chlorine, fluorine, or bromine, which we can get from what? Tap water, toothpastes. Yeah, these are all sources of that. Commercial dough. Like you go to a fast food store and you go to get some bread. Many times they have bromine in it. That's a dough stabilizer. Fluorine, chlorine, and bromine can block up your iodine receptor sites, and so you can't absorb your iodine properly. Pretty cool stuff. So it's really important that you stay away from those foods and make sure you get enough iodine. A lot of people just don't get enough iodine. And many of you, if it wasn't for salt that was supplemented with iodine, you would get no iodine. Iodine, the best source of iodine is sea vegetables. That's why I add sea vegetables to Dr. Joe's Super Green and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, because I want to make sure you're getting enough iodine. Most people don't. Okay? And that could be a reason why you're hungry all the time. Medications can affect your appetite. Those include things like depressing medications, mood disorders, along with antihistamines, antipsychotics, corticosteroids. So if you're taking these drugs, tell your doctor you're hungrier after taking the new medicine, but don't stop taking the medicine on your own. I always want to be clear with my patients. I'm not here to tell you to take drugs or not take drugs. I'm here to get you well so you don't have to take the drugs. Different approach to health, isn't it? Getting to the cause of the problem and not just treating the symptoms. And this is why so many medical doctors, orthopedists, neurologists, neurosurgeons, psychiatrists refer their patients to us. Because the days of doctors not liking each other, those are pretty much gone. You know, chiropractors don't like medical doctors and orthopedic surgeons don't like neurosurgeons, and those days are gone. Everybody's kind of getting along real nice lately. I've been in practice 34 years. Trust me, I know, I can tell you what used to happen. And the days are gone. So we're all getting along now, referring to each other, co-managing the case. I was at a party the other day with a bunch of chiropractors, and it was sponsored by an orthopedic group and a law group and a hospital MRI company. And it's kind of neat because everybody now says, wait a minute, we can actually all work together. So the patient gets better care. Everybody makes more money. The patient spends less money because they're seeing the doctors that they need to get care. Insurance companies save money. There's no downside to getting to the cause of your problem. And that's pretty cool. I mean, how archaic. There was actually a time where chiropractors or anyone but an MD couldn't even order an MRI. Now you can call up an MRI center and walk in yourself. You weren't allowed to. Now you are. So the days of everybody fighting are pretty much gone. You, the patient, are the ones who win the most. You get better care for less money and quicker results if you pick the right doctors. And that's always the key. Make sure you get a doctor that's specific for your condition and somebody who's going to look out for your best interest. My personal feeling, I want to make sure you check the nervous system, because pinched nerves can affect not only pain, but can affect the function of the organs. I always want to check your digestive system, because you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating. We may have to massage or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. And we have that on my website, drjoeesposito.com. It's under articles. Go blog and then Dr. Joe's articles. And it's on GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. That's the article you want to read. And then we want to make sure you're getting the right nutrition. Stay away from the bad foods, the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, the ones that make you hungry and tired. Eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. At least take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Don't knock them till you try them, folks, I promise you. And it's some good stuff. And now you have a health care plan. Not an insurance plan, a health care plan. And if you have a health care plan, chances are you won't need so much insurance. And then as we run out of time, lack of sleep. Lack of sleep changes the balance of your ghrelin and your leptin, and that can make you eat a lot more. It may also make you more likely to reach for snacks with higher calories because you just want to give yourself a little burst of energy. You're shooting for long-term health, not a short-term high. If that's your goal, is to get well and stay well, that's what I'd like for the goal to be. And when you come into our offices, if we do phone consultations with you, my goal is always what's going to be the best for you long-term. I don't want to get you high real quick. I want to get you healthy forever. So, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us for neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive problems, nutritional issues, acid reflux, heartburn, we'd love to be your doctors. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. So if you can go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world. We will set you up a time to come see us. You can do it online. You can call us. We honor most insurance plans, Medicare, car accidents. I have never seen a car damaged ever with the occupants warrant. And almost every day, patients walk in our offices and say, Doc, I heard you say that 1,000 times, and I just got in an accident, and now I know what you're talking about. So if you want to see us, folks, we'd love to see you. drjoeesposito.com. Just Google Dr. Joe. You can order Super Greens, an essential source there. You can get it on Amazon as well. Hey, thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show. We'll catch you next time.